Hi there, it's Phil from Scholarcy. Today we're going to look at the import settings in Scholarcy Library to see how they affect the way that the Scholarcy flashcard is generated from a PDF. So we have a PDF here from medRxiv, and it's quite a difficult PDF to process because it has line numbering down the side, which interferes with the text, makes it hard to read, particularly when you get to the references section at the end. You can imagine it's very difficult to identify individual references and pull them apart or even copy and paste them to look up each one. So we're going to look at how Scholarcy solves that problem. So I'm going to copy the URL here and we're going to import this into Scholarcy Library. Now these are the default settings. So we have structured summary on, which means that it breaks the summary down into individual sections, summarizing each one. Rewrite in the third person means that it replaces pronouns such as we and our with a mention of the authors instead. Extract figures is off, so we don't want the figures or images from the paper. We have got extract tables on, and that will pull out the tables and convert them to Excel and give us the table captions. We've got this new feature, comparative analysis, which is now switched on, which we'll look at. And then all these other options are default, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So this is what you get out of the box, and I'm going to look at how that translated into the Scholarcy flashcard that was generated. So here's one I prepared earlier that I imported, and this is what we get with the default settings. So you can see we get a structured summary. So we get a summary of the introduction, the objectives, the methods, the results and conclusion. And you can see that it says the authors were the first to track and so on, rather than we, which would have been in the original. So it's replaced that with the third person pronoun. The other thing that it's done is that it's tried to remove all the line numbers that we saw in the text, and it's done a pretty good job. So the text is nice and clean now. Whereas in the original, we had all these nasty line numbers down the side, which really makes it hard. If you're a reader, particularly if you're a screen reader or you have a visual impairment, it makes it really hard to actually understand the text. So we automatically strip those out, but it doesn't do a perfect job. As you can see from the references, it's missed out some of the numbers of each reference, and there's a bit of an extra split there. It's done a pretty good job, but it's not perfect. So we're going to look at how we can improve that. The other thing that we get in the default settings is the comparative analysis, where our algorithms automatically determine how the study compares or differs, confirms or builds on previous research. And it looks at how the authors express that, and we automatically highlight that and categorize that for you. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to our settings and change some of these. So I'm going to turn off structured summary. So instead of having a summary of individual sections, we're going to get an overview of the whole paper. We're going to turn off that rewriting where it replaces we with the authors. We're going to turn off the table extraction, and we're going to turn off comparative analysis. And the other thing I'm going to do, just to see if I can do a bit of a better job on the references with removing these numbers here, I'm going to set this to version 2, which says version 2 is best for PDF files with line numbering, which is what we have. Now in future, we'll probably actually be able to get rid of this entirely because our algorithm will already determine which is the best engine to use for any given PDF. But for now, we still have the option to change it and fine-tune that process, so we'll do that. So I click Save, and let's go back into our folder and re-import that PDF. So I've got the URL, so I'm going to upload it that way. Click Import, and this will take about 5-10 seconds just to process that PDF and break it down and distill it into our flashcard for us according to the settings that we chose. Okay, here we are, it's done. So whereas with the original, you can see that we had the tables, which we could download as Excel, we had a structured summary, and we had the comparative analysis. With our version where we switched all that off, those have gone now. So we've still got the same highlights and all the other sections. We've no longer got the comparative analysis. We don't have the table extraction, and our summary is a bit different now. So we've got an overview of the whole paper across all the sections with really just the key sentences. And you can see that where previously it said the authors did this or the authors did that, these have just been set as they were in the original with we. And the other thing that's slightly improved is the references. So we've retained the original numbering of each reference, but got rid of all that noise of all these line numbers down the side here. And so these are nice clean references that we can click on. We can go and locate the full text of these easily. We can get the site.ai statistics and so on for each reference. And we can download as RIS or as a BibTeX file that we can import into our reference manager, such as EndNote or Zotero. Great, I hope that gave you a quick overview of some of those import settings that we can customize. There's more that we can do here. We can change the length of the summary, either as an absolute number of words or as a percentage of the overall length of the document. We can choose how many key points, and normally it's 5, but we can increase that up to 10. And there's different summary engines here, and we'll look at this in a later video about how that influences the type of summary that's generated. And in a later video, we'll also look at the way that figure extraction can be customized with the image engine. I hope that gave you a quick overview of the import settings. Do let us know if you have any questions or comments, and speak to you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.